What if the future of human civilization is not up in the clouds, but kilometers beneath your feet? Right now, architects and engineers around the world are working on something that sounds completely impossible. They are taking the world's largest abandoned diamond mines, massive holes carved into the Earth's crust, some deep enough to swallow entire skyscrapers, and designing fully functioning cities inside them. Not bunkers, not shelters, cities, with apartments, farms, parks, power systems, and everything a human being needs to live an entire life without ever going to the surface. The question is not whether this can be done. The engineering says it can. The question is why. Why would anyone choose to live inside a hole in the ground? And the answer to that question tells us something uncomfortable about where the world is heading. To understand what these underground cities would look like, you first need to understand the mines they would be built inside. Diamond mines are not like the mines most people picture. They are not long horizontal tunnels carved through rock. The most productive diamond deposits on Earth exist in geological formations called kimberlite pipes, narrow columns of ancient volcanic rock that drove upward from deep inside the Earth hundreds of millions of years ago, carrying diamonds with them toward the surface. To extract those diamonds, mining companies dig straight down, following the pipe, creating vertical shafts of extraordinary depth and diameter. These are called open pit mines, and the largest of them are genuinely staggering in scale. The Mirny Mine in Siberia, one of the most famous examples in the world, is 525 meters deep and 200 meters wide. It is so large that the air currents above it are strong enough to pull small helicopters downward. It closed in 2004 after decades of diamond extraction, and since then it has sat, abandoned, silent, an enormous scar in the Siberian landscape. The Big Hole in Kimberley, South Africa, the mine that triggered the world's first major diamond rush in the 1870s, reaches 240 meters deep and covers an area of over 17 hectares at its widest point. It has been closed since 1914. These are not small spaces. They are architectural voids on a scale that most buildings in the world could fit inside multiple times over. And that is exactly what makes them interesting to the architects who are now studying them. The concept of building inside the Mirny Mine was developed in serious architectural detail by a Russian design group called A.B. Ellis, who proposed filling the 525-meter shaft with a layered vertical city they called Eco City 2020. The design is extraordinary. The top of the shaft would be sealed with a massive glass dome, capturing solar energy and allowing natural light to filter down into the upper levels of the city below. Beneath the dome, a series of terraced levels would spiral down the walls of the mine, each level containing a different function. Residential areas, agricultural zones, forests, parks, research facilities, and energy generation systems built around the mine's natural geothermal heat. At the very bottom, where the mine is deepest and the geothermal heat most concentrated, power generation systems would draw energy from the Earth itself, providing clean, constant, weather-independent electricity for every level above. The estimated capacity of the design, the number of people who could live inside the Mirny Mine structure, is approximately 100,000. 100,000 people living inside a diamond mine. In Siberia, in a city that generates its own power, grows its own food, and maintains its own climate regardless of what happens on the surface above. Now here is where the idea stops being a design exercise and starts being something more urgent. Siberia is one of the most extreme environments on the surface of this planet. Winter temperatures regularly drop below -50 degrees Celsius. The permafrost, The layer of permanently frozen ground that the entire regional infrastructure is built on is thawing as global temperatures rise, causing buildings to sink, roads to collapse, and entire communities to become unstable. The surface, in other words, is becoming less livable, not in a distant theoretical future, right now. And Siberia is not alone. Extreme heat events are making parts of the Middle East and South Asia increasingly dangerous for outdoor human activity. Coastal cities are facing rising sea levels. Agricultural zones are shifting as rainfall patterns change. The architects designing underground cities are not dreamers. They are engineers responding to a real and accelerating problem. The surface of the Earth is becoming harder to live on, and the interior of the Earth, stable, temperature-controlled, protected from weather, immune to the atmospheric chaos above, is starting to look like a serious alternative. But the engineering challenges are real and they are significant. Light is the first problem. Human beings need natural light, not just for visibility, but for biological function. Without proper light cycles, sleep patterns collapse, vitamin D production fails, and mental health deteriorates. The glass dome design addresses this partially for the upper levels, but the deeper you go into the shaft, the less natural light reaches. The solution being proposed involves a system of light pipes and mirrors, channeling sunlight down through reflective shafts into the lower levels, combined with full-spectrum artificial lighting calibrated to mimic natural daylight cycles. The technology exists. Implementing it at this scale has never been attempted. Air circulation is the second challenge. A sealed underground city of 100,000 people produces carbon dioxide, heat, moisture, and biological waste at rates that would make the environment unlivable within hours without sophisticated air management systems. The dome design incorporates massive atmospheric processors, essentially artificial lungs for the city, cycling air through filtration, temperature regulation, and humidity control continuously. The third challenge is psychological. Human beings evolved on the surface of the Earth, under open sky, with horizons. Confinement studies, including research from Antarctic stations, submarine crews, and space mission simulations, consistently show that enclosed environments with limited natural variation cause significant psychological stress over time. The underground city designs address this through the inclusion of large open green spaces on multiple levels, forests, water features, parks, designed to give residents the sensation of outdoor space even while being kilometers underground. Whether that is enough for permanent habitation over generations is a question no one has yet answered, because no one has ever done this before. Here is the thought I want to leave with you. 100 years ago, the idea of building a city in the sky, glass towers rising hundreds of meters above the ground, people living their entire lives above the clouds, would have sounded exactly as impossible as building a city underground sounds today. And yet the vertical city became the defining architecture of the modern world. The mines are already there. The holes are already dug. The shafts that once pulled diamonds from the earth are sitting empty, waiting large enough to contain entire communities. The question is not whether human beings could live underground. The question is whether the surface will eventually give us no other choice. And the architects who are already drawing those plans seem to think the answer is closer than any of us are comfortable admitting. If that made you think differently about where we are all heading, subscribe. Because the future of human civilization is being designed right now in places most people will never think to look. And we are going to find all of them.